So Home Alone came out in 1990. I will never forget getting the VHS in 1991 when I was in kindergarten. I think I actually got it for Christmas. And I remember the tagline. Oh, wait. Yeah. A family comedy without the family. And I mean, how could a kid at that age not like this movie? Booby trapping, the entire thing, with his toys. This is another movie that, by the way, could easily be a horror film. And I know that, like, certain people, I believe Kevin Smith actually hates this movie. I have mixed feelings on Kevin Smith. You know, it's a hit or a miss with that guy, frankly. But we live in a way more cynical age, and it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, like, sure, I could name a million different, like, scenarios where that wouldn't have worked, or where this criminal would have been able to figure that out. They wouldn't have just bumbled into the next room to fall for the next trap. It's like, yeah, of course. The movie has absolutely zero realism whatsoever. It's a cartoon, for Christ's sake. It's a live-action cartoon. It's goofy. It's slapstick. It, like, harkens you back to, like, the Three Stooges and stuff. This film, I feel, would not be made today. I know that they just did a crappy movie, like, a year or two ago called Home Sweet Home Alone, and from what I've heard, it's, like, absolute dookie. The only reason that I think that film exists is because it's kind of riding on that. It's riding that Home Alone train. If the original Home Alone didn't exist, I don't think that they would have been able to pitch this movie. I think if you went up to a modern studio executive and you said, all right, so I got an idea, right? There's this kid, and his parents accidentally abandon him, and he's home alone, and he's vulnerable, and these two criminals break into the house. The executive would be, whoa, wait a minute, this is a suspense? No, this is a kid's movie. What? Again, we live in a very cynical age, and there's some shit that happens in this movie that would not be shown today. A kid shooting a dude in the head with a BB gun, a flamethrower to the head, an iron landing on somebody's face. There's just a million and one ways that these people could have died. Things were a little bit rougher in the 90s. I remember distinctively watching the Mighty Ducks and seeing an advertisement for both Budweiser and Marlboro on, like, the scoreboards. And that's freaking Disney, dude. You know, that was the 90s for you. But also, like, the way the kids talk. Buzz saying, like, I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass. It's a little bit more organic. There was some, like, you know, gross stuff in the Goonies, but that's sort of the thing. It's kind of like, you know, that era of filmmaking where kids were kind of just kids. Kids talk about gross things. Kids use bad language. Kids are little friggin' demons. I mean, that's how it is. And this movie, like, just allowed that to happen. Now, objectively speaking, okay, Macaulay Culkin, I mean, granted, he was a kid, okay, but they could have definitely hired a better actor. Would I ever recast the movie if I could? No, because Home Alone is very precious to me, and I'll take it. Bad acting and all, okay? Macaulay Culkin was very, like, kind of, you could tell the cameraman was kind of, like, giving him his cues and shit like that. None of it really felt organic. But again, he was a kid. There's a certain olive branch that, you know, you could extend. I mean, I do definitely understand if you couldn't get past that, particularly if you didn't grow up with this movie. And, you know, that's another thing, too. Like, Kevin Smith would have been, I mean, this was a couple years before he did Clerks, so he was probably like a teenager or something like that, and he probably saw the movie and he's like, this is awful. That could be said about a great many things, you know, like even like the Ninja Turtles movies and stuff like that. If you didn't grow up with it, you might be like, wow, this is really dumb. I know for a fact that there are things today that kids are watching that I think is stupid, but I get it. I get that's the relationship that they have with it, you know? And Home Alone, it's got a great soundtrack. I actually have a lot of the themes from Home Alone on my Spotify Christmas list because it's just that good. It's a great film to watch around the holidays. I mean, I guess it is kind of Christmassy that in the end, you know, amends are made with this family and the parents kind of learn something, and Kevin kind of learns something. And the Shovel Slayer making amends with his son and reuniting with his granddaughter. That was something I forgot to mention. It's a pretty solid Christmas movie, and I adore it. And if you don't, I respect your opinion, but Home Alone, to me, it's always going to be a Christmas classic, and I'm going to watch it again and again and again every year until I croak. And that's all she wrote.